Hi, everybody. Welcome to episode 7 of season 2 of the Norwalk Film Festival podcast. Today we have Clare Kerr, the multi-hyphenate executive producer, writer, and actor in Shoulder Season. Anna, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, I just want to say it's such a lovely movie, and you have your hands all over it. But yeah, so let's start a little bit just about your past and how you got into filmmaking. Tell us how you got started.
Yeah, I'm Clare Kerr. I obnoxiously multi-hyphenate. Started as an actor, started as a writer, theater actor, transitioned into film and TV acting right around the pandemic time. Film was the first thing that came back, so I've definitely put a lot of energy towards that. And during COVID, also rediscovered my passion for writing and started a couple projects. And Shoulder Season was the first one that really took off creatively. And so I kind of I followed that. I have a bad habit of writing impossibly complicated and high budget things. For kind of looking at my portfolio, I'm like, this is a good starting one. Shoulder Season is simple compared to others.
Yeah. Well, that's good. It's good to understand the limits at a certain time. So when you are writing, and you have all these ideas, whether they're high concept or a little lower budget, how do you decide which ones that you want to focus on? You're like, okay, I'm gonna work on Shoulder Season now, or
practicality wise. Again, I was like,
that's a good mindset. Yeah.
A short film is easier to tackle as a first project than a pilot, than a feature, so my goal with Shoulder Season, a lot of goals with Shoulder Season, but one was like, let's get this experience. Let's get this writing experience, this executive producing experience, and then take everything I've learned and apply it towards the next project.
Yeah. From your initial, kernel of an idea that you had for Shoulder Season and to the final draft, how much did it evolve, or was that kind of how it was in your mind the whole time?
No, a lot of things changed. A lot of things developed and were left on the not cutting room floor, but like in the drafts on my
Coupled
computer.
Up papers in
yeah.
in the virtual trash can.
Yeah, lots of things changed. Characters came and went, but the core kernel of that contrast between grieving someone who is quickly departed versus grieving someone who is still here but slowly departing us. That main contrast in comparison was always the kernel.
Yeah, and I'll read the log line synopsis for the film. Mayellen, a lost and recently divorced woman in her 30s, has been tasked with packing up her late grandmother's beach cottage before it's listed for sale. When a neighbor with dementia brings up old memories, Mayellen has no choice but to confront her grief directly. So you mentioned there's these two characters who are both grieving in a quick way or a slower way.
Yeah.
So I guess tell us a little bit about the inspiration where you came up with the story.
Yeah, this film definitely came from my own experience of losing my last remaining grandparent in 2022 very suddenly, while I was still grieving the very slow decline of a different grandparent to Alzheimer's who had passed, but was a very slow decline, and kind of wrapping my head around the repercussions of that for me, for my family, and the whiplash, kind of a bit of emotional whiplash of the difference of their departures really inspired. It was just like, I was grieving and I was like, let's put feelings and thoughts to paper and, oh my gosh, this actually isn't bad. let's keep working on this.
It's always nice to surprise yourself when you I wrote something. And did it feel cathartic at all to get that all out there and get it down?
Absolutely.
Yeah. So then let's talk a little bit about taking it from the paper to the screen. So, and your role, the executive producer, obviously you've seen this thing from start to finish. Well,
I'm very sick of seeing my own face. I'm very sick of seeing my own face.
Did you always plan to act in it as well? Or okay,
yeah,
cool. So when you're putting it all together, tell us how you built your team.
Yeah. As I said, I've been an actor in New York City for over 10 years. And so I consider myself very blessed to have built up a community of fellow actors, fellow creatives. The very first person I approached was my director, Sierra Schnock, whom we've met years and years ago doing very bad regional theater, but stayed in
Those
touch.
people who you meet and grow with are
It's trauma bond.
Of course.
She was the very first person I brought the script to when it felt completed, and I said that was summer of 2020. That was fall of 2022, I guess, late summer, early fall of 2022. And I said, hey, I have this project. She had expressed transitioning from less of an actor, wanting to like grow her director wings. And I said, hey, I know this is something you're interested in. I have this project that feels pretty much done. Would you be interested in coming on board? And she said, yes. The theme of this entire production process has been, I don't know what I don't know.
Yeah.
Very first time producing something like this. I did like theater production before, but it's a very different beast. And so I knew I needed people on my team that knew what they were doing.
Okay.
And I was so ready to lend a helping hand to do whatever was needed, but I didn't know what was needed. So the next person we brought on, I believe, was our producer, MJ Bernier, who I was connected to through a fellow producer on a film I worked on, I acted on last year or 2 years ago. And MJ has just been the most phenomenal resource. This film would not have been made without MJ. MJ helped us develop our production team, bring in our cast, our crew, and walk us through casting, through pre-production, production, and post-production. We definitely relied on Connecticut-based. I really relied on Connecticut-based film groups on Facebook for sourcing local people. Our amazing, who came on as a PA and then very quickly became a production manager, Karen Madaski, was based coincidentally in the town we were shooting in. And so relied on the community of Connecticut as well as our New York City contacts to make this film possible.
Yeah. I mean, I would have to say, commend you for understanding your weaknesses, because that's, and like not trying to overstep or, or being willing to bring people in. Because I've been on plenty of sets where people are I guess, like trying to work above their knowledge, and it shows. So it's great that you do that. So while you're on set, you're the executive producer. She wants us to go great, but you're also acting in it. So how much were you wearing that executive producer hat while on set, or were you just focused on acting while you were doing that?
I had a conversation with my production team before we went to set of just like where my priorities needed to be as an actor, as a writer, and MJ Bernier very much stepped in as producer on the day, so that I could not have to wear my executive producer hat. I still wore it because I'm a Capricorn and I love it. But they were very adamant that I was able to just be on set as an actor, that I wasn't going to have to worry about things that went wrong, because inevitably things went wrong. We had to reschedule. We had to organize our entire shoot schedule because it was going to rain. And they were phenomenal at taking the stress off of my shoulders.
That's amazing.
I'm very lucky.
It's something to, because obviously this is a heavy performance, heavy topics for your character in this movie. So it's to not have to have that inkling of, is the production
it was still there, but I didn't have to be wearing that hat the whole time as well.
Yeah. So before you got started, tell us, so if you're casting somebody who you're going to be working and acting across with directly, tell us a little bit about how you found Connor Sweeney to play Grant.
Connor Sweeney, I knew of already. Okay. Connor Sweeney, we had a connection. Sierra and knew Connor as well. We still had him audition. He still wanted to audition, even though we had kind of said, we had worked with him before. We shot a little proof of concept teaser for our Seed and Spark campaign, and we brought him on for that, and he was phenomenal. And
good plug that we have the founder of Seed and Spark going to be at the festival doing a crowdfunding campaign. Sorry, go on.
No, absolutely. We had a phenomenal experience with Seed and Spark. Would happily work with them again. But yeah, Connor was a connection from like the New York City acting community. He auditioned for I don't remember if we must have had him audition for the teaser. But he was phenomenal. We kept him on for the main production, and just such a good actor. We'd happily work with him again.
Great. So you filmed, it was in Old Saybrook?
Yeah, we filmed in Old Saybrook.
Nice. And then how many days were you there? What was the experience like?
3. We did it in 3. We did 16, 17 pages in 3. But I have family in Old Saybrook. I've spent a lot of time out there. I had boots on the ground for location scouting, and just I knew the world, which made it a lot easier for pre-production versus going into a place where like, this looks pretty, but we don't know what's there.
Right.
So we were able to do it in 3.
Nice. That's great. I mean, and obviously having a strong team around you makes it you can do it when you can have to flip everything around.
Yeah.
And then, so you had 3 wonderful days. It's wonderfully smooth and amazing days of filming. And then once you move into post-production, how involved in the editing process were you? Or did you kind of just let it go and see what came out?
I told my director that like I wanted to be involved when we were at a point where like we were reviewing compiled cuts, but my director Sierra Schnock is also a fantastic editor. We had a fantastic editor that we contracted based in LA, Audrey Leach, and so they really worked together. Like they sat down and they worked through it together, and I was able to be a little hands off for that because Sierra and I had many conversations of the vibe and what we wanted from the scenes, and we were very aligned. And I told Sierra, I trust you explicitly, implicitly, explicitly, the whole thing.
Yeah, I trust you.
I trust you. I wanted to be involved. Like I saw many cuts of it. And I was definitely more involved as we got down to like the final nitpicking. I was involved for coloring. I was involved for sound, but the initial brunt of let's take everything we have and put it together. I was able to be hands off, and Sierra was very hands on for that.
That's great. So, when you see the final product, I guess, how does it align with what you had in your brain while you were writing it?
It very much aligned. I'm an actor that likes to watch playback. So I was able to do that on set. So I kind of knew what it was going to look like.
Sure.
It's amazing what color does.
I know, right?
And we were so blessed to work with Company 3 for our coloring for this. And it's amazing how it's a beautifully shot. Our director of photography was phenomenal. Also a Connecticut local, Emu Haynes, hire them. But we shot it in March in Connecticut, which is just bleak and cold and gray. And getting to see these pops of color where we were able to pull them was so gratifying and satisfying. And I don't know if there were any moments really in the editing process where I was like, that's not what I thought that would look like. Yeah.
Well, that's great. I'm trying to think what I'm trying to say. The gray and the emptiness a little bit of Connecticut March obviously fits the tone of...
Yeah, the environment was very much a character.
Yeah, it was right. I mean, the shoulder season, the term itself is it's about in between seasons and all that. So it is really amazing and it looks great. So I compliment your whole team.
Thank you very much.
I'm getting it all together. So now that you have it out in the world, and where has it been? What have you done with it? And
this is our premiere.
Hey, look at that.
This is our premiere, and it's feels very fitting to like come to a Connecticut festival for that. And we are hoping that this is the start of a long and fruitful festival run. But yeah.
I mean, we're very excited to have it, and it's always great to see. I mean, obviously, you said you have a lot of New York-based people, but everybody coming here to Connecticut to make it, and having a city in Connecticut being one of the stars of the film. It really shows what we can do around here, and that's part of what we're trying to help promote is the indie film scene, whether you're in New York or Connecticut or Vancouver in the area. So it's great to have something that's locally produced by very locally some very talented local people as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, this is just starting its run, but I hope you're still working on other things, whether it's acting or writing. So tell us a little bit about what else you got going on.
Yeah. I'm currently putting the finishing touches on a pilot. I've started a couple other projects in the meantime, but the pilot is something I actually started writing before shoulder season. And then when shoulder season kind of came about, I was like, we're going to put the pilot on the back burner because I don't know how to write a pilot, but I think I know how to write a short film. And so I've returned to the pilot and putting the finishing touches on that. So hopefully going to shoot a proof of concept for that this summer and shop it around and see where that leads.
That's great. I guess this is one thing I meant to ask in your writing, where you're talking about writing a little bit, but what do you have like a notebook or like your notes app or something where you just jot down random ideas and then see what happens from there? Or how do you like?
You don't want to see the notes app on my phone. You don't. It's like opening Pandora's box. No, I definitely have.
I get it.
Yeah, I definitely write a lot. I write on my computer. I write in Writer Duet. I've been bringing when I'm commuting, I bring my laptop. I like write whenever I can. And I have a longer commute these days. So it's been nice to like sit on the subway with like a little laptop. And we were joking at the beginning of like looking at old notes and being like, what does this mean? But I do feel like that when I look through the notes app and I'm like, what did this mean? I've got a storyboard on my bedroom wall of like Post-it notes and like following the characters' arcs through the full season.
Oh, nice. As long as you have it on, you don't have red string going around, then you don't look too.
I don't. Not yet. That'll be for the season finale.
Yeah. I always like go back to when I have a notes app on my phone, whenever I jot down those random ideas. And I had one time that just said firefighter grandma. And I went back like months later and was like scrolling through. I was like, all right, let me see if there's anything in here that sparks something. And it was just like, what in God's name could firefighter grandma be? But in that moment, I wrote it and was like, oh, no, this
is it. This is all I know, and this is the wedding.
Break it. Yeah.
Please tell me you wrote a firefighter grandma pilot.
Not yet, but it's. I gotta see if I can pitch it to Dick Wolf, and we can start the whole firefighter, the whole grandma series.
It's like that grandma. That Nathan, like the Rookie, kind of like the Nathan Fillion TV show when he like goes back to the force, but like volunteer firefighter grandma. I'd watch that.
Yeah, why not?
It's like Matlock. It's like Matlock right now, but
I guess it's like Murder, She Wrote mixed with firefighting.
Yeah, listen, people love firefighter TV shows. Chicago Fire is on, I don't even know what season.
I know that. We can have Grandma Nurse, or like Grandma Doctor. There's lots of options.
Yeah,
right, that was also you can help me write and produce the great Grandma verse.
That was something that was actually a bit of a gift with this film, is getting to work with older actors.
Oh, yeah.
I don't know. I've done a lot of student films, indie films where the entire cast and crew is just like 20-year-olds.
Yeah.
And so it was a really, really fun audition process, and getting to work on set with Catherine, who plays Alma, was just a gift.
Yeah, it is nice to be able to have that variety. Yeah, because as you said, a lot of times when you're on set, and you're like, hey, everybody looks like me, or everybody
looks like me. And do any of us know what we're doing? Because I
don't. As long as everybody knows at least a little bit of what they're assigned to do, you should be good.
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for chatting with me, and
thank you so much for having me.
Let us know if you want to be found, where people can find you.
Yeah, I'm everywhere at Clare Kerr. Just Anna Clare Kerr, Claire with no I, Anna with 2 N's.
That's funny enough. I have another friend who's a Claire with no I. When I saw it on your on your credit, I was like, wait. I was like, I thought that was the only, my friend was the only one with no I.
It's the English spelling, and I have to say that because people will put an I in as the American spelling, and I'm like, no, you won't find me. You put an I in there.
That's my friend. I think her Instagram or something for a while was Claire with no I.
That's funny.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you, Anna Clare with no I, Kerr, for joining us today to talk about shoulder season. Very excited to have it screening Sunday, January 12th in Norwalk.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me.
Its premiere, which is very exciting. All right. Thanks. Good.
Thank you.